Hi guys, Grant from BeyondBeaver.com, where I teach you how to build websites ridiculously fast. In today's video, I want to show you guys the best page builder for WordPress. Now, I've used a lot of page builders out there, and I've come from a Genesis background where I was hand coding a lot of my own homepage layouts, using the Genesis column classes to lay out content. I've played with Aqua Page Builder. I've used Visual Composer, some of the premium themes from Theme Forest, their page builders. And I mean, there is no comparison of any of them to Beaver Builder. Beaver Builder is actually the best page builder for WordPress. And the way that I'm going to show you guys and prove to you guys that it is the best page builder for WordPress is I'm going to build a professional designed homepage for you right now. Now, on the BeyondBeaver.com website, we not only sell child themes for the Beaver Builder theme, but we also sell landing page templates. Okay, and here they are. So there's about 18 currently, and they're available for purchase. But what you can do is when you download these using Beaver Builder, you can import them using WordPress and then load them on a page, and you've got that design ready to go. I mean, they're incredibly time saving. And I mean, it's not just because our templates are great, but it's because Beaver Builder allows you to do that. Now, what we're going to do today is we're going to recreate this online app landing page. So I'll open that in a new tab, and here it is. Okay, so this is actually a very popular one of ours, and it's for an online app. So your app will sell like hotcakes with this great template. It's got everything you'd want: Apple Store, Google Play, some key features, some mock-ups, some statistics, some testimonials. So it's a very nice design that's ready to go. But yeah, I'm going to show you guys today how great Beaver Builder is for building website pages and laying out your content by recreating this page. And along the way, you're going to learn some really cool features of Beaver Builder. Everything from how to build a page, so how to launch Beaver Builder in a page, to how the columns work, what's possible responsively, so hiding columns, reversing the stacking order, a lot of goodies there related to responsive design. I'm going to show you how to add background images. I'm going to show you how to overlap sections between different rows. I'm going to show you the interface of Beaver Builder and the different modules available with the paid versions so that you can make the decision based on your needs. But I highly recommend you purchase Beaver Builder. I'm going to put a link down below in the description. So if you want to purchase it, please click that link. And I'll also put a link to some other sort of things that are very valuable. Other videos that I've done that will help you learn Beaver Builder if you do purchase it. And I'll also show you some of the add-ons that are being developed for Beaver Builder now, because Beaver Builder is making some really great progress recently. It's getting quite a bit of hype. It was recently part of GoDaddy's installation process, and it went from 90,000 installs to 10,000 installs. I think it was within a couple of days of doing that. So there's some great things going. But yeah, I don't want to stand here and just tell you that you should buy it. Let me show you just how good Beaver Builder is. So yeah, as discussed, we're going to be rebuilding this template here. Now, let's start analyzing this template and breaking it down into the components that we have to build. This row here has an image, 2 buttons, a heading, 2 images. Okay, and if we break this down into a page builder sort of layout, I'll actually just launch page builder on this for you guys. So I've just logged in, and we'll click on page builder to launch Beaver Builder. Okay, and now we're in Beaver Builder. So let's just hide the modules for now. So when you're editing a page with Beaver Builder, where you hover, you'll see a blue overlay. And that's going to be the element that you're editing. So from a hierarchical perspective, if we hover on the outside here, the whole row lights up. So you can see that? The whole blue overlay is over here. Now inside a row, there are columns. So if we hover over this, there's 1 column, there's another column, and there's another column. So this is made up of a row with 3 columns, and then 1 column, and then 2 columns. Okay, so we're going to want to recreate that. So let's go back, and firstly, we're going to drag in the 3 columns. So under rows, Let's drag in 3 columns. And there we have it. Now let's put a background image on our main row, and it's going to be that purple background. So see here, that purple background? So you'll see at the top, we're editing the row settings. So the settings for this row here. So there are a couple of options here. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to add the background image so that when we go through these options here, we can see the changes that they make. Because if we don't add an image to give it a background, it might be a bit harder to sort of see the changes. We're going to click on select photo, and this is going to open up a pop-up which is the default media library of WordPress, which the more native a plugin is for WordPress, so the more that it utilizes a default WordPress interface, the more intuitive it is because you're used to seeing the WordPress interface. So let's select the purple background image and we'll select photo, and that's going to add it there, and you can see it's already applied in real time to our row. And for usability, we can also see the blue dashed outlines of where the columns are. Now, what I'll do, I'll just run you through the different row settings that you have available. So width, for width, you can actually make this a fixed width and you'll see that it pulls it in. Generally, I will always use full width because it's quite a modern effect. So you can see it stretches from the left and right. So content width, we could make this full width and you'll see the columns go to the very edge of the screen, or we can do fixed width and it will pull into the grid. You will generally always want to use fixed width. Height. Now this is a really, really cool feature. If we go full height, this makes the row the exact height of our window. So just to show you guys what I mean by that, let's save this row and let's duplicate it. So we'll click this icon here, duplicate. Again, if you hover on any of these, it will tell you what it is. That's the move, that's the row settings, that's the duplicate, and that's the remove row. So let's click on the duplicate icon. And now we have 2 rows. So let's just make this second row a different color so we can sort of see what we're doing here. So let's change it from a photo to a background color, and let's make the color a nice light gray. And let's duplicate this purple again. And then let's drag this new row, so the move, let's put it at the bottom. So if you have a look at what we've just done now, it goes the purple, then the gray, and then the purple. And you can see they're taking up the full height of the browser. And what's great about this one is it centers the content vertically, which is very, very cool. So I'm just going to remove this and we'll just go back to recreating the page. So I'll just show you again the different row settings. Let's click the spanner again. So that's those settings there. And you can actually, when you do the full height, you can choose where the content is vertically. So by default, you're going to want it center when you choose the full height. But again, you can choose the top and you can see the content is now at the top of that row. Let's go back and just make it the default height. Default meaning the row will be the height of whatever content we put in it. So a cool thing about Beaver Builder is you'll have the text of your template be inherited by the theme you're using, but then you can set it on a row basis, and then a column basis, and then a module basis in that order. So let's say our theme has a font color of black. So if we write text into this row here, the black on the purple, you might not be able to read that. So you'd come in here and you'd say any text in this row would be white, which you'd be able to see white on purple. But then you could also go, and I'll show you later on that in the column settings, you could change it to be a different color, and then on a per module basis, you could change it to be a different color. If that doesn't make sense, just know that typography with Beaver Builder is very flexible. So again, background type, we chose photo. You could make it a video background, a slideshow, so images fading in and out, and parallax. You have all the default sort of image settings. So for that background image, you could tile it. You can align it center, center bottom, all the different types of center options that you need. Scroll or fixed, fill and fit. And a great feature, which I'll show you guys later on, is the background overlay feature. So see this purple background here? you can actually come in here and you could give it an overlay. So let's do maybe a white overlay to show you guys. And you can see there's a white color going over our background image. And we'll actually use this a bit further on. So down the bottom here, we have a background image and then we have a purple overlay over the top of it. And rows, you can have borders on it. So you might want a solid bottom border of 20 black, and you can see there's a black border. Okay, so I'll just reset it to what it was. And advanced, again, you can put margins on the rows, padding on the row. You can choose for the row to only display on larger devices, so larger desktops, larger and tablets, so it wouldn't show on mobile devices. Or you could only show a row on mobile devices. So again, that flexibility of responsive things, only showing content on the devices that you want, which is very, very powerful. Visibility, a new feature that was added in the last stable version that Beaver Builder put out. You can show rows based on if a user is logged in or logged out. You can add an ID to the row, and you can add a class to the row. So again, these are used for your styling options with CSS. Okay, so now that we've added our background there, let's click Save. And next we're going to want to add our logo image. So to do that, we're going to click on Add Content, so our list of modules slides out. And then we're going to add the photo module, so you just click and drag it into the column you want it to go in. We'll bring up the pop-up just for that module, so the photo module. We're going to click Select Photo to go to our native media gallery. We're going to look for that logo, which is this one here. Select Photo. That blue spinning circle is going to load it, and then it's going to go up there. And we're actually going to want to align it to the left. And it's going to be the full size because I've cropped it at the size that I want it to be. And again, you'll notice that from the row settings that we're just looking at to the photo module that we have up here, the settings for the module change. Okay, so and it's on a per module basis. So row settings, we had a background image. For the photo settings, you can crop it, you can change the alignment, you could show a caption, you can link this to a URL. And the advanced tab, you can add margins on the module. You could show and hide this again at the responsive things, only show this image on larger devices and hide it on mobile phones. Only show it to logged in users. So again, these sort of settings are global. So every sort of thing that you edit in Beaver Builder, under the advanced tab, you'll get these similar settings, the class, the ID, all that sort of stuff. So let's save that. Okay, now that we've got our image in there, let's go back and we want to add these two button modules. So under basic modules, there is actually a button module. So let's just click and drag that into the columns that we want. And that's going to load the button module settings. So this is going to say sign in. And then you can see you could add an icon to this. So Font Awesome, a popular one. You could add, for signing in, a great one is the user icon. And then again, that spinning circle will show that update and then it will show it there. So our one doesn't actually have an icon, so I'll just go ahead and I'll remove that. So link, you'd obviously link that to your sign up page. In the style tab, this is where we set the styling options for it. So background color. And a great thing, because just say you have your branding for your company and you're building pages with Beaver Builder, your company most likely has its color scheme. So you don't want to keep looking up the hexadecimal code for each color option. So a cool thing about Beaver Builder is that in the color palette, you can click this little plus icon here, add it to presets. And if you go into your color presets, it's now down the bottom. So anytime you're editing a page with Beaver Builder and you go to a color swatch, that color will be there. You don't have to remember. And we'll add that to our color swatch. And then we'll also add this blue color. Click on style. So let's copy that light blue. we'll click add, and let's copy and paste this hover color. So let's copy that, and we'll click add. So again, our color presets, we have all our colors here now. Let's change that back to the purple. And we want to make this a gradient. So how cool is that? So you can do a flat where it's only this color, or you can click gradient, which it automatically works out a gradient of colors based on the color chosen here. So you can see it goes lighter to dark, but it's based on this color here, which is really cool. I actually use that quite a bit. Flat buttons are cool, but sometimes you want to have that the gradient to make it feel like it's popping, so people know to click on it. Okay, and then down here you have the width. So this is an auto, so that means whatever text that we type into here, the button goes that width. So see how it expands as we type? But what we want to do is we want to make it 100% of the width. So let's make it full width. So that's going to take up the full width of the column. Now you can see that's quite a bit larger to this button that we're going to be copying from our online app template. But we'll deal with that next. So let's go ahead and click save. And now we need to create that new button. So let's just go and click the duplicate. So it's going to duplicate that module. And then let's drag that new button into this new column. Let's click to edit. And then that was sign up. And then we want to change that to those blue colors. So let's go to our color presets, and it was that lighter blue. And then when we hover on it, it's going to go to the darker blue. And you can see there it is. Let's click save. Okay, now we just need to resize them. So the way that we're going to do that is we're actually just going to make this column a lot larger so that it reduces these two columns over here. Now, how cool is this? Hover on this column over here, and we get that little cursor there, which implies that we can change the widths. And we're going to click and drag. And then over here, we're going to click and drag. Now, if you want to be more methodical and more accurate with the width, what you can do is you can actually, on the edit column settings, you can click and go to column settings. And then you can actually type in a number. Let's make this 60%. And then let's make this 20%. I'm just going to actually drag this. Okay, that looks pretty good. That looks pretty even. Okay, now we're going to want to add this heading. So we're going to add content, a row, and we're going to add one column. And it's going to be in that same row, but it's going to be under the 3 columns above. Now, if we hover, there's the 3 columns. So we have our row, then 3 columns, and then 1 row here. So the heading module, let's go ahead and click add content, and we'll drag in the heading module. Okay, and now we want to center it, so we'll go to style. I will make that H1 because it'll be the main heading on the page. We want to align it center. And we'll click OK. Now we want to actually make this text white. How I like to work is we could actually click on this module and make the text white. Going to style and then making it white. But I actually like, and it makes sense, work from the row down. So let's go to our row and let's make that white. Because the way that it works is now anything that we put in this row will have white text. Now you can actually override that. So if we go to the column, we could make that gray text. So again, the column is more specific than the row, so it's overriding. Or we could just click on the actual module and change the text color here. So now that we've set anything in this row to have the white text, we're going to want to add these two buttons here, which are two columns. Again, I could play around with the type, but we're not going to spend too much time just playing around with the finer details. Let's add the two columns here. So we'll go row layouts, we'll drag the two columns underneath this one column here. And then we need to add our two images. So let's add the photo here. And we'll select the photo. And then we want download on the App Store, and we're going to align that right. See, we can see it's right here. We're going to duplicate that module. And then we're going to drag it over here. And then we're going to align this left, and we're going to replace the image. And we're going to choose the Google Play. And we're going to, so obviously these would link out. You choose a link here, but we're not going to do that just now. And you can see it's already getting there. This might need some spacing above, so you just click on the module and you might give it a bit more spacing there. Okay, next we want to add this, this computer that's overlapping. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to put this image in the below row, and then we're going to use a negative margin to pull it up. So to do that, we're going to add a new row below. With one column, so this will be one column, and then we're going to put a photo module into this. We're going to select photo, we're going to choose that computer image, and we're going to click select photo. It's going to be centered, so you can see it's loaded there, and we're going to click save. Now let's go ahead and we'll add this heading module there. So let's go add content, and we're going to choose a heading module, so click and drag it beneath. And we're just going to do unique points. And again, that is going to be centered, and it's going to have the purple color. So we'll choose the purple color from our saved presets. And you'll see that's going to go underneath. Let's make it a little bit bigger, a H2. And then we need to have this text underneath. So let's click save, click add content, we'll add the text editor module under that. Let's paste that text in, and then we're going to center it. So let's just highlight that and click the center icons. Again, this WYSIWYG has all the default icons that come with WordPress, so it feels like you're at home in the back end of your dashboard, but you're on the front end. Now, let's remove the margin on the top to bring this text up near that heading module. Okay, next we need to create these features under here, so an image and then some text. Let's go back here. I'm going to recreate this a little bit differently, just so I can show you guys a different module. It's actually my favorite module, up there, and it's called the callout module. So let's drag that in, and we'll give it a heading. So feature heading, put some text into there. We'll click on the style tab and we'll align it to the center. Let's make it a H4. So we're choosing this as a H4. So it goes down in font size. So it's just, it's just. And then let's click the image. So let's make it a photo. You can choose icon here, and you could select a font awesome icon. Let's select a photo. We'll select a photo. Let's choose this little icon here, and we'll click select. Let's not crop it, and we'll put it above the feature. So call to action. So we can link this to a URL. So you'd put in the URL here. I'm just going to put a dummy URL. It's going to open the same window. And we might actually want to add a button. So let's add a button down below. And for this button, we'll do, read more. So read more about this feature. And let's give it a background color. So let's make it a purple. Purple would be quite nice. The hover color will be a purple. The text, So we want it white. So it'll be this color and then it'll be white. And then when we hover, it'll be this color with white text. We'll give it a gradient to match our theme of this landing page, like the buttons up the top here. So there it is. And let's click save. And there it is. So just by filling out a few fields on this callout module, we've got something that looks like this, which is pretty cool. So you click duplicate, and then you could drag it into the next column, and there's 2 points. We could also click here, and we could insert a column before, if you think they're too spaced out. So now we have 3 columns. Let's duplicate this feature, and then let's drag it into the middle column. So there you go. So we have our top, that, and our features. And again, you could just keep going. So say we have a few features here. We'll just click add content, some rows, 3. So we'll do another set of 3 features. We'll drag it underneath. And then we'll duplicate these 3 here. And we'll drag them into those columns underneath. And we might want to give them some spacing, so let's click on the modules. And we might want to have 40, let's make it 60 below. So say we're just adding spacing in between here, click on the module. And there you go. Let's just add some more spacing up the top between here. Space it out a bit more. And you can see it's already starting to come together. Okay, now we need to add this background of the snow. So let's go back to here, and for this row, click the wrench icon for the row. We're going to scroll down. For the background, we're going to choose photo. We're going to select a photo, which is the snow. So there it is. You can see it in the background. So we don't want this to repeat. We want to be the center top. So we want this to align from the center top and then go down. We want this to scroll with the page, and we want this to fit. And we actually want this center bottom. So you can see it's down the bottom. Now see how it's a bit hard to read because the text is grey and it's competing with the background here? This is where our overlay comes in handy. So for this row, when we're still editing it, let's go to the overlay color and let's click on that. And then we're going to put a white. And we're just going to adjust this until we can read the text down here. So 60, 70, I think 60 will work there because you can still read the text, and OK. Okay, now if we go back here, we can see this is overlapping the 2 sections. So what we want to do is we want to add some space to this bottom row, and then we want to pull this up to fill the space. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to add a column here to push this down. So there's more space in this row here, and then we're going to pull this up. So let's click add content, row layout, and let's drag 1 column at the bottom of this row. It's pushed it down. So let's push it down a little bit more. So let's firstly do 2 things. Let's go to the column settings, and we want to pad this out a bit. So you can see that's a bit bigger. So it might need to be a bit more. So we push that down. And this column, obviously we don't want this space on mobile devices. So we're going to go over here and we're going to select display this column on large and medium only. So it's going to be hidden on mobiles. Let's click save. Now let's pull this up. So let's click on this module to edit it. And it's going to come up and say we're editing the photo module. Let's click advanced, and for the margin, we're going to use a negative margin, a really handy trick to create dynamic layouts. So let's do minus 300. You can see that that's getting there. We might want to actually make it minus 250 so it's in this more in the center. Let's click OK. Let's actually reduce this spacing here just to pull it up a bit. And you can see we've created that overlap effect. And then we have our features. Okay, now next we need to create this section here. So if we break this down, it's a row with a white background, 2 columns, one with an image, a heading, and then some text. So let's do that. So we'll click Add Content, Row Layouts, and we're going to click the 2 columns. So we're going to add a new row with 2 columns. We're going to drag it to the bottom. And then in the one on the right, we're going to add a photo module. We're going to select the photo. And it's this one here, and we'll click Select Photo. We're not going to crop it. We're going to center align it, and we're going to click Save. So there it is there. So now we have our 2 heading modules. So let's go ahead and click Add Content. So heading, drag it over, and I'll just click on this to get the text. So that's the text there. We're going to change, so under the Style tab, so where you change the appearance of it, we're going to make it that purple color that we saved in our presets. We might make this a heading 2. And we're going to click Save. Okay, now let's make this second heading. We might actually want to make this a little bit bigger. So let's go and edit this module again and click Style. And for the H2, we want to actually override the H2 that our theme has as a font size. And we can click a custom font size. That's going to show a text area here. Let's make it something like 40. How big is that? Maybe a bit bigger, 50. Okay, that's big enough. Maybe a little bit, so 60. Now, because that's so big, if we save that and we show what it looks like on mobile devices by just dragging this in, you're going to see it's quite big. So a great option is when you're making a font size really big for desktop, Beaver Builder actually lets you set a font size for a smaller device. So that's a custom font size for 60 for desktops. Under the mobile, let's set a custom font size and let's make that, say, 30 pixels and click Save. So you'll see this here, as we go down, it's gone back down in size. And that's just going to make it a lot more easier to read. And it gives you a lot more flexibility on how things look between mobile devices and desktop devices. So let's keep that. I might actually make that mobile size a little bit bigger. Let's say 40 pixels. And we'll click Save. Now let's create that second heading. And see how they're quite spaced out? We're going to want to reduce that, so let's get rid of the margin up the top of this one, and we might actually go back into this one and remove the margin at the bottom. So by default, modules will get a margin on all sides, but you can overwrite them on a per module basis on the Advanced tab. So let's change that to a 0. And see they're getting a bit closer. You can actually use negative here, so you could do negative 20. That's going to pull it up a bit more. Now let's click and we're just going to change that to the gray color. Again, because we're going to be reusing this, let's just click the add button. So that's going to add it to our presets and it's going to be down the bottom for us to use throughout our website, any website. So any page that we edit with Beaver Builder, that's going to be available. Not just on this page, but any page. Okay, so now that needs to be italicized like this one over here. And I'm just going to show you this because it's quite good if you know how to do a bit of HTML. You can actually write HTML tags into the text fields in Beaver Builder modules. So here, we could write a emphasis tag. And that's going to italicize it for us. So now we just need to add this text underneath. So let's go to add content and we're just going to drag a text editor module over here. I'm just going to copy some text here so I have some dummy text to design with. And then let's just paste it in here. So we had some bold text above it. And then we had a couple of them. So let's just do something like that. There you go. And you can see there's actually a bit more spacing up the top here. So you can set padding on the row. So let's click the spanner on the row. We might want to make that 50 pixels top and bottom. So now let's just add some even padding down the bottom here. Okay, and now we just need to add this side. So again, you can sort of see two titles, some text, and an image. And then on this side, two titles, text, and some image. It's just reversed. So what we're going to actually do is we're going to duplicate this row. So click on the duplicate. So now we have two of the same rows. So what we're going to do is we're just going to swap over the content. So first, let's drag the image module over to this side. And then let's drag the other modules over to the other side. So there we go. There. There. And there. So there we go. There's our two sides. I'm just going to change that image to this one over here. There it is. Now, one thing that I want to show you guys while we're here, a great feature of Beaver Builder is you can actually reverse the stacking order on mobiles. If you're used to Bootstrap, it's sort of a pool, this pool class for the grids. But basically, I'll show you guys what I mean. So we have text on this side and an image here, and then an image here and text here. So by default, if we bring this in to the mobile view, you'll see it goes the text, and then the image, and then the image, and then the text, which is a bit disjointed. You probably want the image and then the text for both of them. So if we take it up, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to reverse this stacking order, because on mobiles it's showing this and then that, and then that, and then this. So what we want to do is on mobiles we want to show this first before this to match down here. So what we're going to do is we're going to click to edit the column settings, and then on the advanced tab scroll down to where it says stacking order, and you can see if you hover over here, each one of these has a tool tip in case you get lost or you ever forget. Let's hover on here. Let's hover on this. The order of columns in this group when they are stacked for small devices. So we're going to reverse that and we're going to click save. So again, instead of this coming before this on mobile, we're going to reverse it and this is going to come before this. So if we go into the mobile view, you can see as we scroll down, it goes image, text, image, text. So that's a great feature and I've been using that a lot for my designs, and it's a new feature to Beaver Builder and it's very, very powerful. So next we need to create this row, which is a photo module and then a number counter. So let's go back and we're going to add a row with 4 columns. So row layout, 4 columns, and we're going to drag this down the bottom. So next we're going to add that background image. So let's click to edit the row. So it's going to bring up the row settings, and we're going to scroll down, and the background we're going to choose a photo, and then we're going to select the background photo. It's this one here. Click select photo and then save. Now we need to add the photo module and then a number counter and do that 4 times. Let's go ahead, add content, and basic photos, we're going to drag a photo module in, and we're going to select a photo And I'm just going to choose the house and click select photo. It's going to be centered, no cropping, so I'm going to click save. Now we just need to add the number counter underneath. So under our modules, the advanced modules, we're going to go down to a number counter and we're going to drag that in under this photo module. And then we're just going to click on it. And it's going to be a standard, only numbers, 957. So it's going to count to 957. And then under it's going to say downloads. So downloads. And you can see we've got it there. We actually want to make our number larger. So we're going to click on the style to change how this module looks. And we're going to make it, let's just make it 60. Yeah, that looks big enough. And we'll go to the advanced and we'll remove the margin on top so it's closer to the house icon, and we'll click save. So there it is. Now let's just duplicate that 4 times. And obviously you change the value in here and the text underneath, and you change the icon. I'm not going to bore you with that sort of stuff. I just want to sort of show you guys how easy it is to build a page rather than actually go and just try and do the finesse and do the finer details. Because there's no point in you sitting around seeing me be really pedantic about stuff. I mean, I'm sure you'd rather see how it actually works. Okay, so I've just duplicated them. So there's 2 things that we need to do to this now. First, we need to make this text white, and then we need to add the purple background tinge to this background image. So both of those are done on the row settings. So let's first make the text color for everything in this row white. So as you can see, that's made everything white. And then we want to add over our background photo, which is full color, we want to add a background overlay color. So this is a color that sits over our image and makes it like all a certain color. So you can see there, if I select a purple color, it adds a color over the full color image and sort of makes it that one color. And then we just want to add some padding to the tops and bottom of this to space it out a bit more. Click save. Now these were added with CSS, these diagonal lines, by adding a CSS class to the column. So column settings, advanced, adding a CSS class, and then adding that line. But an easier way to do it is for the for each column, we can go to column settings, and we're just going to add a vertical line in between. So border, we're going to do a solid border, and we're only going to do it on the right hand side. We're going to make it a white, and there you go. So let's just go ahead and we'll just do that for this one and this one, obviously not this last one. And I won't bore you, I'm just going to stop the video right now and I'm just going to continue to finish this off. And there you go, so I've just done that. So I've just added the borders to each of these. Okay, and then we just need to do this section. So this is a row with one column and another column with a heading. So a heading, a text editor module, a text editor module, and a cool icon group module. Let's go ahead and we're going to add a row with 2 columns. So there it is. And let's just drag this one smaller because obviously this one's a bit more narrow than this wider column over here. And then let's add a photo module. And then we'll select that photo, and it's going to be this girl here. We're going to click select photo. When this finishes loading, she's going to show up here. You can actually do crop. So crop, we could do a circle and sort of going to round her corners to a full circle. This one actually has rounded corners that I've applied using CSS. But again, same effect. Let's just crop it to a circle. We'll click save. And then let's add these text over here. So add content. We're going to do a heading module. and that's going to be our purple color, so style tab to change the appearance of this module. We're going to remove the bottom margin of this because you can see these two headings are quite close. And then we're going to change it to a H2 module so it's a bit larger and click Save. Now, what we can do, we can actually duplicate this module. And then we'll give it the title, so CEO of company. The style to change the module appearance, and let's make it that gray color that we saved. Now we actually want this text to be smaller than the title of the person, so let's go down and we'll change it to maybe a H4 and click Save. Now let's add a text module into the same column again, and let's add that text. Maybe remove the margin on top to decrease this space here. And then let's add these stars. Now there's a cool module with Beaver Builder under the Advanced Modules tab called Icon Group. So let's drag that into this column. And let's click the Edit icon, select icon, and we're going to use Font Awesome. And we'll type in star to search. Let's use the outlined star and the style for this module. So we're going to give it that color, the light blue that we saved previously. And let's click Save. Now there's 5 of those stars, so we can press this duplicate icon here. Now you do have the ability to change these icons, so you could have 5 different icons, but we're going to keep them 5 stars. And we're actually going to align them to the left. And we're going to try and get them closer to this text here. So remove that margin up the top. And there's that. Okay, now we need a new row here with these 4 images here that are centered. Let's click Add Content and then click Row Layouts, and we're going to drag 4 columns into their own new row. And we're going to do 4 photo modules. So photo, let's click Select Photo, and we're going to choose this lady. No cropping, centered, save. Let's duplicate her. So again, you would change these images. And I'm just going to quickly duplicate these again. I'm not going to change them to 4 different people. Okay, there they are. That's actually 6 columns. So what you could do is you could click on here and click Insert Column After. You could click here and click Insert Column Before. So we're adding one here and one here. And there they are. And now if we go back to the example we're creating, we need to do this row, which has a heading module, a subscribe form module, and an image. Let's click Add Row Layouts. It's going to be 2 columns. And it's going to have that purple background. So we're going to edit the row. We're going to do the photo. We're going to select the photo, that background. And there it is. Now, if we go back to the page that we're recreating, we need a header module, a subscribe form module, and an image module. So first, let's go ahead and we're going to add the heading module. So basic modules and heading. We'll just drag that in. And we'll put the text in there. And we're just going to make that text white. And we're going to center it and click Save. Next, add content. One of my favorite modules that comes with Beaver Builder is the subscribe form module. Let's drag that in. And the reason that I like it is you could set it up so this form, when people fill it out, goes to your email address. Or you can do all these really, really popular marketing automation softwares. ActiveCampaign I use, really highly recommend it. Aweber, very popular campaign monitor. MailChimp, free for up to 2,000 subscribers. So all those sort of things. So you would select the one that you use here. I'm just going to choose an email address for now. And I'm going to add an account. Account name might be Grant's email, and it's going to go to Grant's email. Again, this is just a fake one. Connect. When you click connect, Grant's email goes under account. And whenever I add a new subscribe module throughout any page on my website, I can just select that there and it's going to send to that email address. Again, you can, when they fill out the form, it shows this message, or you could redirect them to another URL where you might have a thank you page or a promotional offer. And a cool thing I want to show you guys here is you can actually stack it where the form fields go on top of each other, or you can do inline. Inlines where they sit next to each other and they go horizontally, like so. And I actually use this on the our Be Well template, so our child theme for the Beaver Builder theme. You can actually see here, very, very handy. So let's go back and we're gonna go back and choose stacked. We're gonna just say, when they fill it out, it's gonna go to an email address, and it's gonna say thank you for subscribing or thank you for emailing us. And we're gonna change the button styling. So it's gonna say email. And then we might wanna change the background color. So we're gonna change it to those blue colors that we saved in our preset. And then we're gonna wanna make it a gradient. Let's increase the font size to 24 because it is actually quite large there. And we're going to click save. Now we need to add that photo module over here, so let's drag in the photo. Let's select, and there it is. We'll click select photo and save. And now we just need to remove these spacings on the top and bottom, see how it goes right to the top. So let's do that, and that's just on the row. So if we remove the default padding that's applied to a row, click on the advanced tab and you can see 20 pixels here. So let's set that to 0 for the top and the bottom. And then a module in Beaver Builder gets default margins. So let's move the top and the bottom. And you can see now that's sitting right on the edges. And then let's push this down so that it's in the center, vertically centered. And there you go, there's that section done. Now I'm not going to go ahead and recreate these last couple of sections on the online app template, just because you get the idea. But let's go ahead and click done and publish changes, and I'll just show you guys what that looks like on mobile devices. Let's go ahead and resize the browser as if it would be on a mobile. And you see it's looking quite nice. Straight out the box, this is default Beaver Builder settings. Now, one feature that I'll show you that's really cool, just say down here, these 4 photos. I mean, a better use of these space would maybe have 2 of these next to each other on mobiles. And then up here, I mean, this is taking up quite a bit of space. You could probably have 2 of these next to each other as well. So let's go ahead and we'll launch the page builder again. So let's launch Beaver Builder again. We'll scroll down to those sections. And so here, we're going to want to have these go from 4 columns to 2 columns on mobiles. So let's hover on here to edit the column settings. We're going to click on the advanced tab and we're going to change the responsive layout. So we're going to display this always, so on small, medium and large devices. But on small devices, we want to make this 50%. So on small devices, this is going to take up 50% of the mobile phone. And let's edit this one. And we're going to edit all of these to take up 50% on the small devices. So what that means is when we get to a small device, this is taking up 25, 25, 25, and 25 currently. So 4 columns, 25% each. We're going to make this take up 50% on mobile devices, which means we're going to have 2 rows. So let's edit these last 2 columns and make them all 50%. So small devices, it's going to be 50%. And again, let's edit this column, and on small devices, make it 50%. Small device width, 50%. Now let's go down, and again, we want to make these 50% on small devices only. But to do that, we also need to hide these two non-used columns on small devices. So let's go ahead and we're going to edit this column. And we're going to say, on small devices, don't show this. So the advanced tab, responsive layout, and then we're going to say, only show this on large and medium devices only, which means don't show it on small devices. And again, we're going to do it over here to this one. So display this column only on large and medium devices. And then we want to make these all 50%. So it goes to 2 columns on small devices. So let's go column settings. So small device width is going to be 50%. I'm going to do that for all these here. I'm just going to stop the video now and just do that quickly. I've just finished making these 4 columns here 50% on small devices. And let's click done and publish changes to save the changes we've just made with Beaver Builder and publish them. Scroll down to those sections and let's resize our browser to see the mobile device view. And if we go down, see how they're 50% now on small devices. And if we scroll down, 50%. So that's the power that I want to show you guys of Beaver Builder and the flexibility you guys have with responsive options. So options that you can change depending if it's a small device like a mobile phone, a tablet device, a medium device, or a larger device like your desktop and your laptops. And so yeah, we've just recreated this page using Beaver Builder. So yeah, I hope you guys found that video very, very helpful and it's made your decision on what to use as a WordPress page builder easier. Again, you know, I've been using this for a while. I've used a lot of them. I really do believe that it is the best, but don't take my word for it. There is a free version of Beaver Builder that you can download from the WordPress repository. So just go to your WordPress dashboard, plugins, search for Beaver Builder, and you'll be able to download it and install it for free. It doesn't come with all the modules that you've seen in this video. It is sort of basic, but yeah, I mean, you can use it and have a play around. But I definitely recommend paying because I've never looked back. And again, there's a link in my description where you can click to go to the Beaver Builder website to check it out and play with the demo. And stay tuned because I'm going to be releasing a new video within the week, which is going to show you guys why it is the best page builder in terms of running a web agency. So how I choose my plugins and why I think Beaver Builder suits my needs. And I'm going to match it against 7 criteria that I really do value when choosing software. And from that video, you guys will be able to work out a bit more about why I do like Beaver Builder. So visit BeyondBeaver.com for WordPress and Beaver Builder specific tutorials. I'm going to be releasing a few online video courses soon. So everything from how to create a website, and I'm going to do some more that are Beaver Builder specific. And then I'm going to go into looking at how you can build child themes with WordPress. So anything to do with mastering WordPress and in particular, how to use Beaver Builder. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube video so you get notified every time that we post a new video. And we've also got Twitter, so follow us on Twitter and like our Facebook page. And feel free to go to our contact page or comment on this video, say hello. We like meeting new people. And until our next video, keep learning WordPress.